One of the things, though, that we are doing today, as the atheist community of Austin, is we had a table and we're working a booth at the Gay Pride Festival. This is something that happens, I think it's the first Sunday of June every year. So we've done this for the last couple of years now, and it's going on today, I think, until like 6 o'clock or something like that, or thereabouts.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
Okay, and so that's what we're doing today. Now I believe that you actually went down there for a little bit.
I went there down there for about an hour. They they said, "Hey, come on down. Maybe they'll recognize you as a local celebrity." That didn't really happen.
Unfortunately.
They said, maybe they'll think you're a beautiful lesbian. Callers, am I gay or not? You decide. Just kidding. Anyway, so I went down there for a little bit. It was a very, very big event. Cars, you know, parking was terrible, terrible. But that's a good sign, because that means that there were a lot of people there. Big event, big park, lots of different booths.
Where actually was it again?
It was pretty near here. It was down on Comal and like First Street area.
Okay.
Past First Street on Holly, about that.
Okay.
Huh?
Fiesta Gardens. Yeah.
It was at Fiesta Gardens. The event was pretty big. It was a lot of fun. There were some wonderful, wonderful performers. They had this I don't know, drag show with a medley of 60s music that I've also seen at the AIDS Walk every year. And then they had this amazing band with a fiddle player and a pianist and a drummer, and they were just incredible. And we had our booth out. We had a lot of great bumper stickers. I would just like to say a few words about why we have a booth out there. We've kind of, one of the major functions of the atheist community is political activism. We like to get involved in issues that we think are important primarily in terms of atheist issues, and one of the issues involved today was the separation of church and state. And the reason separation of church and state is involved is, you know, when George Bush is trying to pass his amendment, and other politicians in government in the past and in the future, to make gay marriage illegal, really, if you ask anybody why gay marriage is wrong, it usually springs from two causes, either an ick factor or some religious cause, something that's religiously wrong with gay marriage, gay relationships. And since as atheists we believe that it's absolutely wrong to use religion or ick factor as a way of passing public policy, we thought that this Gay Pride Festival was really, really important. So we showed up and we had a booth in order to support it.
Yeah, we had big discussions about this a couple months back with the ACA just wanted to pass a resolution just saying that we support gay marriage and such. We had a big discussion about that, being that this, while not directly considered an atheist issue, gay marriage and gay rights and such, not directly atheist related, most of the arguments are atheism or religiously based in some way. And so that's our main issue with it. It's not so much that, you know, gays should have the right to marriage or they shouldn't. It's just that most of the arguments against it are religiously based, or, as you said, the ick factor. Neither of which really makes all that much sense to us. There are a lot of things that I don't consider all that. Again, I'm not gay, and so I don't consider it all that attractive. But just because I'm not gay doesn't mean that somebody else shouldn't have the right to do whatever they want, and, assuming they're not hurting anybody else, obviously. So.
And if you can make a case to say that gay people are hurting anybody else, you can make a case to say that any person in any relationship is hurting anybody else. I had a conversation with someone that I know the other day where I started talking to her about this, and, you know, sometimes it just sort of surprises me that people still think that gay people shouldn't have rights, or that anybody shouldn't have the same rights as anybody else. Yeah. I think I live in a very sheltered universe where I'm surrounded by liberals and atheists and free thinkers and progressive people in Austin, Texas, and social work realms, and democratic societies, whatever circle I might be in, it surprises me that people still think that way.
Yeah.
And so I had gotten this conversation with a woman, and she's like, I was saying, well, the reason I don't want to vote for George Bush, one of the big reasons is because he's going to pass an amendment to illegalize gay marriage, and that's just evil and wrong. And she's like, why would gay people want to get married to each other? They shouldn't be allowed to do that. They shouldn't have, they shouldn't have the right to do that. I'm like, why not? She said, because.
End of sentence.
End of sentence. And so I said, they're human too. And this is the fundamental basic thing.
Yeah.
People think that atheists shouldn't have the right because they're less than human because they don't believe in God. Or gay people shouldn't have the same rights as everybody else because they're less than human because they like to get mixed up with people who are the same gender as them, or that, black people, women, Democrats, children, whatever. It sometimes baffles me that we still live in a world where we don't accept everybody on the planet as human beings and therefore give them all the same rights based on the fact that they're all human beings, unless, of course, they have done something wrong, like committed a very bad crime.
If you have a reason to have your rights taken away, then you have a reason to take away the rights.
Exactly. But, I guess Christians believe that if you're homosexual, you have a reason to have your rights taken away, and that's because you're sinning against God. And that, in my mind, is just not something you can pass a public policy on in a state where the Constitution says, we'll have no laws.
And in addition to that, I mean, it's
separation of church and state.
It's simply the fact that unless you can prove that there is a detrimental consequence to having this, going to hell or something like that, unless you can prove that there is a problem there, then we can't have any reasons to say that it should be illegal. We have, rules and laws against drug use, for instance, because we have demonstrable reasons that they can be bad for society. People disagree with that. We're not going to get into that whole discussion here, but whether you like it or not, there are reasons that we outlaw drugs, and so therefore we have rules against them. Killing people is bad. We know about that. We have demonstrable reasons why. Therefore, it's illegal. People sleeping with people of the same sex and getting married and having relationships with people of the same sex, we don't have a really good reason or really good anything that shows that that's bad for society or bad for people. So until we come up with that good reason, I can't see taking away that right. Because there are a lot of things that, that just doesn't look right. Eating Jell-O is just kind of nasty. And so it should be illegal. There's no real reason that we have yet, but it just looks nasty.
Meat.
Exactly, snails. I mean, that should be illegal. That's nasty.
Of course, I think eating meat should be illegal, but that's a different issue.
Yes, but you have reasons again for that.
I do.
You have reasons. Now, whether they're good or bad,
say they have reasons, and one of those is they'll influence the poor little children. What if these people have the right to get married, and they get married and they adopt children, or have children or whatever? Then they're going to influence the poor little children. I mean, first of all, so what?
Yeah.
What?
You're going to influence your kids to like jelly.
Right. Oh my God. And second of all, if you're going to say that, then you got to prove that the gay person's parents were gay too.
Yeah.
Because if you can influence children to be gay, I mean, I've heard cases where they take children away from someone who's a gay parent and they give it to the grandparents.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, if the parent is the one that grew up gay, then, and if there's any influence involved, then it's the grandparents' fault because they're the ones that raised the gay person.
Yeah.
So why would they take the child away from the gay person and give it to the grandparents? You're ensuring that they're going to grow up gay. But then again, so what?
And again, we do have some gay couples, I think, that are raising kids. So we could have a study done on that. Basically, how many of these kids who were raised with gay parents turned out to be gay.
99% sure there is a study out there.
And so there probably is. So if we look to that, and again, we find out that one, that is an influence, and two, it's bad for a reason, then, okay, there's a reason perhaps not to let them adopt children. That's nothing about marriage. They can still live together as much as they want. But if we could show, again, that gay couples somehow had something bad to them and they could influence their children, then we could say, okay, fine, they can adopt. But again, until you have a valid reason, there's no reason not to do it.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, you got to prove to people that having that. I mean, I've heard plenty of people say that, well, I don't mind that they're gay, they just shouldn't have the rights of a married couple. And first of all, I mean, I don't really know, I'm not married, I don't really know that much about what are the rights of a married couple, except voting rights, and no, I don't think that voting has anything to do with taxes, that's it.
Yeah.
You can file taxes.
Property also, as in, if I'm married to a woman and I die, with a will or not, my assets
things
automatically
that I talked about on
her.
the show last week about whether or not you have the right to, you know, be this person's power of attorney, or whether or not you have the right to this person's stuff after they die. If you're
you can pretty easily set up documents and wills and such to take care of that type of thing.
But I mean, you know,